Hello, hello, hello. Hope you can hear me okay. Let's do the transition over. Hope you see everything okay. How are you all doing this afternoon? Hello, 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 hello Yellowtail, hello there, Royal Flush, hello V Trudel, hello DGTCM as well, welcome one and all. Also, thank you for the follows, Tristan from last night, and also Too Tall Goof and NB9, who gave me a follow 12 hours ago, apparently. Thank you very much for the follows, when I was asleep. Wondering why you sounded quiet. There I realised I had your volume lowered. Well, that'll probably do it, yes. So, I hope you're all doing well. Today is a bit of an interesting day for the workshop, because we are going to be doing some Twitch integration. Woo! Twitch integration. That's going to be fun, isn't it? We'll finally be able to do all this Twitch Plays stuff and find out exactly how it all works. And how much of a pain it is sometimes. Anyone need a recap of what we did last week? It was a bit of a weird week anyway, because the only thing we really did was the PowerPoint stuff, well, where we sort of mimicked PowerPoint, and we went from screen to screen like this. But we also happened upon doing running a web server locally so that we can have a web page that we use to control the game from the web server. So if I just show you again, if I run the game again. What was the... Oops, don't want that one yet. Get my bookmarks open. What was it? Localhost 4444. It was. There you go. So we had this, and it runs this local web server on port 4444. You want me to verify my email, but already did it, and it didn't work. You should be able to hit a button on the settings to do it again. There should definitely be a way to do it again at some point. So we had this, and it's currently running the game, so we should be able to hit next, and it skips over to the next page. Hit next again, it changes to the next page. Hit previous, goes back a page. Previous, goes back another page. So we're able to control the game through a local web server and using the browser to do so. And that was sort of what we managed to achieve magically at the end of that stream. Completely unexpectedly, because that was sort of flying off the cuff, but it worked quite nicely. They want me to did so many times. I don't know what to suggest, DJ. I don't know what to suggest, unfortunately. Take it up with Twitch support. I know that's probably not much of a help to you right now, but that's all I can say to you right now is to do that. Either that or start a brand new account. And I hope that all works better. So you must have missed that bit. Yeah, it's a nice little bit we did at the end of the stream, Ben. Because we were trying to do the multiple displays thing, and we found that was just not working how we wanted to do it. And then I had the spark of inspiration of, oh wait, why don't we use a local web server to do it? This is your new account. Or are you using the same email on multiple accounts? If so, that would be why it's not working, because they don't allow you to do that. That's like account spamming. You need to have to use a different email account for every Twitch account you use. Could that be used in place of Twitch integration or in addition to? Sort of and sort of not. Because it's on a local web server, you kind of have to be in the local network to run it, to play with it. So you can obviously use it as a buzz-in page, but only locally. Unless, of course, you decide to forward all your ports and then try and get everyone to connect to you on a dynamic IP address or something like that, which you could do. You very much could do that, but it's a lot of pain and suffering, and also you're opening yourself up to a lot of attacks that way as well by doing that. So yeah, danger. So what I would tend to do for like a buzzing thing is you have a server that is connected to the world, and then everything connects to that. So it's kind of like a web server, like the local one, but actually remote, i.e. web server, and then everything connects to that way. So it's a more complicated system doing it that way, but it is slightly safer doing it that way, and also more robust, I would say. Alex mentioned getting a dedicated PC server at some point. DJT, you're shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head? Was it because of what I've just said about using the same email address for different accounts? Is that what it is? Both. Ah, okay. Which may have opened up doors to more game types, but not just yet. Yeah. I mean, we did also mention the whole, you could just connect to Discord as well with a game through Unity, but I don't think either of us decided to work on that. So anyway, this is Twitch integration today. Stumbled upon an impossible dev stream and it looked like you had a second window frame for control buttons. Yes, but that only works because I'm running it inside of Unity. Like pretty much everything I do for the streams, I run it through the Unity editor. So I can do the multiple displays okay that way, because you can sort of control that with the Unity editor, but you can't do that as a built app necessarily the same way. So that's why it works in that situation how Tatoo's, because I'm running it in the Unity editor rather than as a built app. Yes, all of the secrets being revealed today, I know. Well, I say all of them. I'm not going to give away all of my trade secrets. I'm definitely not going to give away all of my messaging madness, which magically works for me. So you will need some Twitch stuff in order to do that. So I am going to be chucking into the Unity Workshop channel on Discord a zip called twitchlib.zip. And that it's basically the Twitch lib as is available on GitHub. Like if I go to twitchlib.unity GitHub, if I find this, it's basically what you find here under the releases, but also not, because, well, it has some fixes in it to do with concurrent queues. So the one that I have has that fix in to prevent it from throwing all sorts of exceptions everywhere. Apparently they've got a community compiled update from 4 days ago, but it's actually dated the 13th of July. But it doesn't tell me exactly what's inside this version. Before that, the last version that they released was in 2018, so it was still a lot of broken stuff in it. And you kind of need this TwitchLib Unity version because it does a lot of... It tries to do a lot of thread mangling to make it run things on the right thread, but again, it still doesn't do a great job of it. And also, it's missing stuff like the channel point system as well, which I've had to get from the main TwitchLib API and then bring into TwitchLib Unity. So the one that I have is slightly more up to date and should work for the current version of Unity. Now I need to actually bring this into my project, so let me do that quickly. Where we go? Unity Workshop, Assets. So what I would say is, in your Assets, you want a new folder called TwitchLib, or something along those lines. So that's what I would do. And then inside of that, chuck in all the contents of that zip file. So you'll see something like that. So in your assets folder, create a folder called TwitchLib, and then inside of that, drop in all those contents of the TwitchLib zip that I have provided. Am I suffering? Yes, you can hear my nose, can't you? Apparently my nose is running again today. Yesterday it wasn't running. The day before it was running like hell. Today it has started to run again. So yes, I am continuing to suffer, but it is only a seasonal flu. Yeah, it's not a persistent cough or anything like that. Oh yeah, I appreciate the concern. I do appreciate the concern. So we've dropped in those DLLs and such. Is everything going to be hunky-dory straight off the bat? Let's find out. I was having a think about it. And looks like we're okay. Yeah, it looks like we're running okay. Let's have a look. Hello there, G. Eisens. Welcome, welcome. Just check these all look okay. Yep, they all do. Cool. Nothing broke. Everything has been imported. Brilliant. Right, we're off. Who makes TwitchLib? So it's technically it's the TwitchLib organization. So there is an organization on GitHub called TwitchLib, and they make it. But I don't know who well, there's 8 people here. So we've got Bjorn, Fossils, Lucky Number 11, Marsap, Prometheus, Rickert, Cole, and Sizuna. Now, if I was a better open source programmer, I would be submitting them pull requests for fixes and things like that to TwitchLib Unity to make it work, but I'm not. I'm not one of those. I'm a lazy programmer, not a proactive programmer. So I make my fixes locally and then don't tell anyone I've got a fix for it. I'm one of those terrible people on Stack Overflow where I would say pose a problem, and then I'll immediately reply with, "Oh, I found the problem," but not actually not give a reason as to not give the details to how to solve the problem. I'm not really that kind of guy, but in this kind of context, it feels like I am. I just saw you whisper, Ben. Oh, I know. There would be a heart attack. Anyway, so we've got TwitchLib in now in the project. So what we need to do is we need to start making some connections. So actually, do we want to start some connections or do we want to create an account first? I think we need to create an account first. So what I would recommend you do is don't do this on your main Twitch account, because if you do it bad and you submit loads of messages at once that you shouldn't be doing, or you submit a lot of whispers that you shouldn't be doing, then your account will get shadow banned whether you like it or not. So what I recommend is create a separate account for your bot, so that if for whatever reason it gets shadow banned, then it's not your main account that gets booped. I have a feeling this is possibly why Ben's account got weirdly shadow banned on Twitch some time ago, because he was in the initial starts when he was using his own account to send messages out, but now he's moved to Persephone's Twitch bot, and I feel like that possibly caused the problem where he got shadow banned from sending messages, unless of course he becomes a moderator or a VIP that circumvents that. So what I'm saying is recommend you to create a separate account for your bot just in case. You already have a note, so this is fine. Good, that's good. So you'll see that I have prepared a separate account just for myself. I'm not using QuizBot 3000 because there will be some sensitive credentials on this stream that I do not want people to use. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a separate account so that when I do have those credentials, yes, we're going into the void. Once we do have those credentials on screen, then it's only going to be related to this account and not any of my sensitive stuff. Streaming myself indefinitely. Hi! Oh well, that's a bit of a delay. It's not on low latency mode. Oh, it is on low latency mode. Anyway, so that is the burner account I have, is burner4975, and I'm going to be using that from this point onwards. You'll see I've used temp mail to just use a temporary email address for everything for this, because I'm going to delete the account afterwards. Then what you want to do is you want to go to a webpage like twitchtokengenerator.com. Sounds like a bit of a dodgy site, but actually I trust this one okay. It's okay. Now, in a production environment, I would not recommend getting OAuth tokens like this. I would recommend doing it the proper way, but this is not a production environment. So as long as you are aware of the fact that you shouldn't really be doing this, and you're aware of the fact that the OAuth token is basically a password into your account, and you are safe with the OAuth tokens you're generating, then that's all you need to worry about. But just, it's a massive caveat, this is not the right way to do things in the world. Getting the OAuth, I believe, is actually in your Twitch dashboard, so, but not really, not on OAuth. I use this anyway because it allows me to generate extra scopes for other things if I need to as well, because the OAuth that you're talking about, Yellowtail, is the master OAuth. That is literally the OAuth to your entire account. And again, I would not recommend using that because that gives permissions to everything on your account. Allows someone that if they had that OAuth token to delete your account, to purchase all sorts of subscriptions on your account, that kind of thing. It's the master key. At least with this, you can get scopes which limit that. So, for example, you could get just a chat token which allows you only to do chat operations with this token. So at least this is a password, but is a limited password to just specific things. That's why I would say to use this versus using the OAuth that you're talking about, because that one is the master key. So there is a way to get a key that is not the master key and that does not use a website like this one, but is a yes, that is to implement OAuth properly, How Tartu. So that is doing the correct OAuth exchange, having to create a Twitch app to communicate to Twitch with, that kind of thing. Those that know what OAuth is, the Open Authentication System, they'll know what that means. If you're new to the world of OAuth, the Open Authentication, don't worry about it for now. Don't worry about it for now. Just trust me that TwitchTokenGenerator.com seems to be okay. It doesn't, when it says on the site, it does not store any of the tokens on its own site. It just gives you the token here that you can then copy and paste, and it's entirely your problem then from that point onwards. So, with that all have been said, using the master key may not be necessarily a bad idea if you know what you're doing, but generally, still the other tale. If there is a way of not using it, I would say don't use it. Even be very careful. You can still fall into a trap of not using it right, and you'd be all sorts. So, zero trust and all that, absolutely. So, you go to a site like this, Twitch Token Generator, and you say that I want to get myself a bot chat token. Now, at this point, you need to be logged in with the account that you want to get the chat token for. So this is for the bot account. So be certain that you are logged in with the bot account at this time. If you're not, then switch accounts before you do so. Otherwise, you're going to get an OAuth for the wrong account. Single instance of a master key leak and everything flips like Charlie Brown in the American football game. Yes. So we want to authorize this application to say that we can do log into chat and send messages. That's literally the only permission we're going to give it. And if you're happy with that permission to be given to the Swifty Spiffy, which is the name of that site we were just on, then click authorize. And once you've done that, then you'll get, well, you'll also be asked to say if you're a robot or not. Oh, I'm going to do some fire hydrant tests. Okay, so those I believe are fire hydrants. Hey, we got through. And now it has given us some tokens. So this is essentially a password into chat for my bot. I'm going to take it off stream just for now, because you don't need to worry about it, but I will in a moment. The only one you'll need to worry about is the access token. Don't worry about the refresh token. You won't probably need to do anything with that. Unless you're doing proper OAuth stuff where you want to refresh your token every now and then. But I've never had to refresh my access token from memory. And you won't need the client ID either in this case. Okay, so once we've done that, we now need to start writing some code. So let's open up Visual Studio, because we need to do some code. And we'll start off by, let's create an object. Create an object in the hierarchy called Twitch, which is going to be a sort of our entry point into the world of Twitch. And I'm going to add a component in here, new script. I'm going to call it, just call it Twitch. I think we can do that. And once we've done that, now we can go in and we can start writing some code. So, I'm now looking at my reference code for my API manager for all the games I use so that I know what I'm doing here. Okay, so, the thing you'll need to store a reference to pretty much for all of it is going to be the Twitch client. So what we're going to do is going to have a private, i.e. something that only this component will ever know about. And we're going to have a twitchlib.unity.client. And I'm going to call it _client. Then we need to do... Okay, so then in the start method, we want to go... We need to start by creating some credentials. So this is going to be sort of the login to the Twitch system. So what we're going to do is go connection. What's it called? Connection credentials is twitchlib client models. Okay. Twitchlib.client.models.connection credentials. So I know it's quite long. If you don't like it being this long, then you can move this up here with the using, so you can do something like that. Ignore that compile stuff. So you can do that. You can also do the same with Twitch Unity here as well, I guess. So you can do that and do that. I'm going to call this credentials. Equals new credentials. And what we'll need is 3 parts. So we need the Twitch username. So this is the username of that bot account. And I had mine be Burner4975. Secondly, we need the OAuth token. So this is the access token that website gave us. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. There's the sneeze. Oh, we got another one coming? No. Okay. So we're going to copy that. So there's the OAuth token for that. And then the Twitch WebSocket URI. I think that should be good enough. We shouldn't need to do anything with that. But we'll deal with it in a moment if we need to. That should just be all we need. I need to blow my nose again because illness. Yay. Wish I did this yesterday when my nose wasn't running. Anyway, so we have credentials. Now we need to initialize the Twitch client. So we're going to go client equals new client. So this just sets up an object called client. Nothing special with that, but we do need to do that. Otherwise, we're going to be doing stuff with a null object, which is bad. Next, we want to do client.initialize, and then we need to give it the credentials object that we just made. Whoa, what the hell just happened with my PC then? Hello? Can you all see me okay? Can you all see me okay? All of my USB devices just decided to refresh again, which is very weird. Okay, cool. That was weird. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? Can you hear me now? What the hell happened there then? I don't know what happened then. Hi! Anyway, I'm back. So yeah, we need to pass in the channel that we want to connect to. In this case, it's AT_bash, and note that it is lowercase. That is because Twitch IRC channel names are lowercase, so you need to be aware that you need to use the lowercase name here to make it work, I believe. And then that, I think, is all you need to do to start with. We now need to hook up some of the events, and then we need to actually connect. So the next thing we're going to do is client.onConnected. So this will tell us when we connect to the Twitch IRC server. Doesn't tell us if we've connected to the channel yet, but tells us if we've connected to the Twitch IRC server. And we're going to do a bit of sort of funky syntax here if you've not seen it before. But don't panic. It all works. But what this is going to do is we're going to create what's called an anonymous function here, or lambda, I guess you could call it as well. and we're hooking it up as an event call to this event called onConnected, and it's got two event parameters, or event vars, I guess you could call them. The sender and E. E is the event args for everything. This is sort of a oh, and yes, this magical symbol here, as Yellowtail is saying, is actually that. It's actually those two characters, but my font does funky stuff and converts them into one ligature. That's what it's called, a one ligature thing. So yeah, it's just a fancy thing, but it is just an equals and then a greater than sign, or should I say right angle bracket? That's more accurate. So do client.onConnected plus equals this, and then anything in this sort of block here, between these two braces, will get called when we connect to the Twitch IRC server. Be aware you still need to have the semicolon at the end here, because we're actually in a body of code here rather than like this, where we're not really, sort of just at the class level here, so you don't need to worry about semicolon. Here you do. And what we're going to do is going to have a debug log message. So debug is Unity's debug class, and we're going to send a log message, and we're just going to say connected to Twitch chat, just something like that. So this will just send out a debug message to our console once we know that we're connected. Similarly, we're going to do a disconnected option as well. So client.onDisconnected. For whatever reason, if we lose a connection to the server, then we might want to know about that. So we're going to do the same thing. Disconnected from Twitch chat. Just like that. And then we also need to have an event call for when we have connected to the channel. So once it's connected to the server, it will then attempt to connect to the channel. And there is an event call for that as well. So client.onJoinedChannel. This event will get called when we join the channel that we specified up here, this @bash channel, plus equals sender E. So again, same kind of structure again. And we're going to say debug.log. And we're going to say joined Twitch chat channel. And we're going to say that. If you've not seen this kind of thing before, you can sort of add strings together and they concatenate on top of each other. So for example here, e.channel, if this was to say @_bash, which in theory it should be, then the full string of this will say joined Twitch chat channel @_bash, which is sort of standard string concatenation, that kind of thing. There are other fancy ways of doing this, but for beginners, I'll just leave it like that because it makes more sense. And then there should just be one other thing to do, and that is to actually start the connection. So after we've done all this, we go client.connect. And that should then set the connection up. What I will also do, though, is I will do a disconnect when we destroy the object. So let's put an event call for onDestroy. Oops. If you've not seen this one before, this event is called by Unity when this object gets destroyed, i.e. when the game closes. Let's put it that way. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a call to say client.disconnect. So if we are connected, then disconnect client, just so that we're not keeping a connection open. Twitch chat isn't the same as a channel chat. Well, there's Twitch IRC, which is the big kahuna of everything, and then there are individual channels inside of that which are equivalent to these channels that you're seeing right now. So yeah, it uses IRC, sort of leverages IRC as a back end for everything. And they've just called it Twitch chat for a minute. Well, they basically have their own flavor of IRC because they have all sorts of emote management. They have all of the extra channel messages, including like channel point stuff, polling, and that kind of thing. So it all works through it, but it is sort of their own flavor of IRC by that kind of metric. And then they have their own things on top of that as well, based off of AWS, but yeah. So I think, let me just delete those 2 lines, we don't need those 2 at the moment. I think that should be enough to make it connect to the channel. Let's just see if we get those debug messages. And we'll find out if it actually works. Let's clear that. We're going to disable the HTTP object for now, because we don't need to talk to the web server for now. Let's see if this connects to Twitch for us. There we go, connected to Twitch chat, and then it also says joined Twitch chat channel AT_bash. So you'll see it's not really done anything. That's because we haven't told it to send any messages or receive any messages yet. So there's not much to deal with that, but we will get to that point in a moment. But for now, we have it connected to chat with that account. You do see the bot in there. It's probably in the user account list. So yeah, is he there? Yeah, Burner4975 is in the user list. Yeah, so that all works. If we do that, we then disconnect. So now we need to start getting some messages out of this thing. So luckily, there's another event that you can use for this. So if you go clients.on message received, it's a very obvious title. On message received is an event that gets called when it receives a message. So client.onMessage received plus equals, and we'll do this structure again of this sender e thing. So then this will get called every time a message comes through. So let me quickly have a look at my message manager code to see how it works again. E.chatMessage. Okay, cool. So then let's just put another debug message in here just so that we can see what's happening. We're going to do debug.log, and we're going to say e.chatMessage. So in the event args, which is this e, there's a variable called chatMessage, and this contains the contents of the message that got sent. And inside of this, you get all sorts of extra information. Look at all this information. So let's say we want the display name. So display name is the one you see actually appear on Twitch. Twitch has, just for your reference, there are 3 ways of representing a user somewhere in its system. You have its display name, so this is the one you see publicly on the Twitch chat. There is the nickname, which is basically the channel name or the name that they would use to log in with, which can be different depending. I think it's like Korean and Japanese. They can choose to have a Japanese display name, but they must still use like a ASCII username to log in with. Let's put it that way. And the third one is an ID, which is numeric, but it's stored in a string, I believe, just because they don't know yet if they're going to need to go into using like hexadecimal characters yet or not. But for the time being, it's stored as a string, but it is a numeric number that every person has some number associated to them as well. So there's 3 ways of representing a user. There's the display name, which can change over time, as we've seen recently with Procyon has changed their name, but they've kept their original login. So the display name would be different, but their username would still be the same. And similarly, also their ID at the background would also be the same. Those 2 do not change, unless of course they were to change to a completely different login name. So we're just going to quickly construct a message here, the debug log. So we're going to say display name plus, just sort of concatenate some strings together. So we're going to sort of make it look like a message in Twitch chat. And there should be also in chat message the actual message they sent. Yeah, message. So if I save that, what this is going to do here is going to construct a string constructed of display name, colon, and then the message they sent. So in theory, my console window at the bottom will look very similar to Twitch chat. So, send some messages, and we'll see if they come through. There we go. Scorecat says, oh slash. Yeah, tell the bot sees all. GI says, hi, Mom. Tipster, Halo Wild. Yep, there we go. It's all coming through absolutely fine. And you'll also find you can do things like that as well. And it just... Now, you'll see things with emotes and that. It comes out as the actual original text here. There is a way around that. There is a way where you can actually get the emote information out of it. Hello there, Quizzy Paul Bot as well. So that's the basic introduction there of getting Twitch chat working. But now I need to figure out, well, how do I get that to work with... It's Polster Freebie Burner, that makes sense. So how do you get that to work with things like the podiums? Okay, so what you need to do at some point is figure out how you're going to identify each podium, how you're going to identify which user is on each podium. So that could just be you just use their nickname or something, or display name or whatever. But that means each podium now needs to have a context of what that name is. And I don't think we have that yet on our podia information. Although we do have player name, don't we? That is true. We do have player name already, so we do have that information. So what we can do is we can give Twitch a reference to the game or the podiums or something. In fact, we could give it a reference to each podium. And then if we have a special command, let's say buzz, then once we have an associated to a player name that then makes the buzz, then theoretically it should trigger the buzz of that podium. We'll find out if we can do that. So this may not be the best way to do it. Like, I would tend to have the Twitch class be on its own and just deal with its own thing, rather than being altogether related to the game code. But it's entirely your decision how you want to make things work. Because, I mean, my message manager system is very different. Oh, hey there! Hello there, Dev. Welcome. So what we're going to do, as I say, just as a quick demonstration to see how it can work with the podiums. So we're going to do public podium array. So we're going to be associating podiums to an array in the inspector in a moment. And we're just going to call this field podiums. I think that makes sense. And hit save. And then what we are going to do is, in our on message received, let's do a check of the message. So if it's to say, if e.chatmessage.message is buzz. So if the message that we are sending is exactly equal to buzz, then we can do something special with that. And what we can do is we can have a look through the podiums to see if any of those podiums has the name that's equal to the name of the person that we've just seen a message from. So we can go and use a bit of link. I don't know if we've actually used link yet on our workshop before, but we're about to use some link, which is sort of like the querying language, I suppose you could say, in the .NET system. I don't actually use the actual keyword-based part of link. I use the more like C# syntax form of it. Should you check for convert caps to make... Stop jumping 3 steps ahead, Yellowtail. This is a tutorial. We start with base level and you find a problem with it, we fix it. Find another problem, we fix it. Stop jumping 3 steps ahead. I'm teaching for a reason. So what we're going to do is we're going to go podiums, and we're going to find a podium that matches that display name. So we're going to go first or default. So what this would do is, once we give it this query that we want to check for, it will return the first podium in that array up there that matches the criteria. And if none of them match, then it will return the default for that type. And because podium is a class, the default for that type would be a null. So we can do a null check to see if there were no matches. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a query. And our query is going to be x.player name, that was the name we had before, is equal to the e.chatmessage. display name. So we're going to do a check to see if the player name that we have on our podium is equal to the display name of the message that's been received. And we're just going to return the first podium that matches that criteria. So matching podium equals that. And then if we do if matching podium is not equal to null, so we're just doing a check to see if there is actually a podium that matched. Then we do matching podium, and I believe we've already got a method to do this. Did we have a method to do this? I swear we did, didn't we? This is where I try to remember back to episode 2. We have flashing. Is that the one we want to set? Is it flashing we want to set? I think it is. It probably is. Select podium. Oh, shoot. We actually have to talk to the game, don't we? We do have to talk to the game. I forgot about that. We do have to talk to the game because the game needs to know what podium's selected. So, we will do that. We'll bring in a game reference, so we'll do game.select podium matching podium. There we go. This is what you get for forgetting about how episode 2 worked. And that was like 7 or 8 weeks ago now. So you do game.select podium matching podium. And if we then go into this and let it compile away all those things, which apparently it's already done, then drop in some references. So drop in the game reference. And to be fair, the game probably already has references to the podiums, doesn't it? It does. We don't need to have a separate array for that then. So let's optimize that away. That should just be game.podiums then. There we go, magic. So we've taken away that podiums array that didn't need to be there because we needed to have a reference to game anyway. Game already has a reference to all the podiums on the variable called podiums. So we just put an extra game dot in front of it and magically that fixes everything and reduces an extra reference. Yay, programming! So, with that all said now, if I start the game up, now, I don't think anyone's going to match yet. So if someone was to say, oh, did I click? I think I clicked then. That was my bad. So if someone tries to say buzz, so How Tatu said buzz, but it didn't match anything. Tipster Score Count have said buzz, but it's not matching anything because none of the podiums have that name. So if I was to change, let's say dog along name here has now become Score Count, because I know Score Count can evade the 30-second message delay. So now the name should be Score Count. Yeah, I know, but you said buzz, and it has gone through. It didn't make the noise, which is interesting. But it did buzz you in. Oh, because I think the click, yeah, because so the noise we had is associated to the click of the button, not the automatic triggering. So that's why it didn't make the sound, because we've implemented our buzzer differently for this. If we wanted to have this play, we'd have to change how this works here. Which, I mean, we could do, actually. We could change this to do that. So what we can do is we can change the event system here. So instead of calling the play of the audio source in the event, we can have it happen when we trigger the podium source. So if we do this, if we go if value, so here if it means here it goes, if we are turning on to flashing, so if it's true, then we can do audio source dot play, and that should now theoretically do the same thing now, in that it will now play that audio source regardless of which way we go about it. But we just quickly change the names ahead of time. So we're going to have Score Count on podium 1, we're going to have How Tatu podium 2, we're going to have Swiftwolf Yellow Tail podium 3, and we're going to have Quizzy Paulbot podium 4. I'm going to hit save and save project because why not, and hit play. Should populate the names, and now if you say your buzzes, theoretically, it should all work. How Tuzzy, you got just too early. You were too early. There we go. Yellowtail got in there. Now Quitty Poolbot's gotten in there. See, we don't have a lockout system yet. So if both of you are able to buzz then, and just sort of exchange buzzers. We don't have it locking out yet. And yes, Yellowtail there is demonstrating that it's not working with a capital B buzz, which we'll get to in a moment. But it looks like, yeah, we've got a lot of a lot of problems with the buzzer because it's not locking it out at the moment. Now can you make a song, chat? I mean, you probably could, actually. Oh, you're having all too much fun with this, aren't you? But at least that's a demonstration of how it works. It's quite nice. It's quite a simple way of doing it. Okay, so let's fix some of the problems with it then. So, first thing we're going to fix is that case sensitivity issue that Yellowtail indicated before. So, what we're doing here on this equals is we're looking directly for an exact equality to this string. So if we were to submit a capital B buzz, then it wouldn't match because it's not a direct equals. So what we need to do is do a slightly different equals operator and sort of change how it works. So what we can do is, actually, we can just convert this string to a lower string, as in a string with all of the characters converted to lowercase variants of them. To do that, you just put a dot to lower on the end. And if you want to be more specific and you don't care about sort of language, then put lower invariants on it. So this will now take the message they send and just force it to lowercase. So whether you go all caps buzz or no caps buzz, both of them would get accepted as being equal to buzz because we're doing a to lower variant on that check. So if we now save that and run it and have a look. Now if people want to buzz with uppercase and lowercase. So Yellowtail's gone there with the uppercase U in there and it has accepted it. Score count with the all caps buzz and we're all buzzing now. So yeah, there you go. You can now accept it in whatever casing you want. There might be that you don't want to do that. Maybe you want them to be very specific case. And if that's the case, then you just don't do that extra to lower invariant. And how Tatu there's doing an extra one with an extra E on the end, that doesn't count because we're only looking at the entire message with buzz in it. It matters to have just buzz, otherwise it won't carry my message. Now, if you want to have it so that it accepts buzz anywhere in the message, we can do that as well. So instead of doing directly equals to buzz, if you want to do check to see if the message has the word buzz in it somewhere, then you can do dot contains buzz. So instead of doing equals equals, you do dot contains buzz, and that will now return true if the message contains the word buzz somewhere in it. And if we run that, so D-Isons would have been accepted if they were a player. Yellowtail's now buzzing and that got accepted. And score count with blah, blah, buzz, blah, 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 buzzing with excitement. There you go. And again, that may or may not be what you want to do, but there is another tool in your arsenal that you can just do a quick check to see if the message contains the word that you're looking for. Very simple. So I think some of the modules in TV contain probably, most likely, Yellowtail, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty simple, really. Now, if you wanted to do something a little more complicated, like you need to have a command and then an extra block afterwards, or not does. Do not does. I think some of the modules in TP does this or do this. Well, maybe, whatever. Good illegal clue checker, I guess. Yeah, potentially so. Now, if you want to sort of split the message up so that you need to do like a constructed message with multiple parts. Let's say, for example, what I do with the vaults, where you have an answer and then you have an offer on the end of it, or you want to say like buzz 3, like you want to do like buzz with the answer 3 or something, then what you can do is you can change this and split the message up into its constituent parts. So let's do that. We'll go string dot parts. So we're going to create an array of strings here in a moment, and we're going to call it parts. And that's going to be equal to e.chatMessage dot message dot to lower invariant. So we're still going to convert it down to a lowercase, and then we're going to split it on that character. And note that I'm using single quote marks here rather than double quote marks, because we're actually looking at a character here rather than as a string. So a character can only ever be one character long, and to indicate that you are specifying a character, you use single quote marks rather than double quote marks. In other languages, there is no difference between a single quote and double quote marks, because they're special like that. But C#, there is a strict rule that single quote marks are for characters and double quote marks are for strings. So be aware that there is a difference there. And then what you can do is you can go if, let's say we say the first part is buzz, and let's say then also we go and parts 1 is 3. So now you have to say the message buzz 3. Now, obviously that's a bad example. You can probably do a better example than this, but this is just a test to see if you're sending the message through correctly. So if you were to do that, when we get there, when it actually loads. Hello there, Dr. Mummy, welcome. So we're now connected to Twitch chat. And if you were to say buzz 3, then that will be an accepted message. Yep, there we go. Yellowtail got through there with buzz 3. Actually got there buzz 3 twice, which is interesting. Why did that message come through twice? That's weird. G. said buzz 2. Oh, hang on. My Twitch chat has just died on my stream manager. Okay, well, let's refresh that. That's why that's happening. But that's working okay. However, if one of you were to submit a bad message and say buzz, just buzz, then I would expect there to be an exception thrown in a moment. There it goes. Yes, Yellowtail and QuizzyPoolBot just went with just buzz, and it says here, index out of range exception. Index was outside the bounds of the array. What does that mean? Well, we can have a look at the code. So let's stop the program. And we look at the code and we go, they said just buzz, but I'm looking for a second part here. Now, all this does, it just splits the message up into as many parts as it can. But if the message is just buzz, then there will only ever be one element in this array. So there would never be a part at index 1, i.e. a second element. So this part here would throw an exception if there's not enough parts to it. I know what you know it means, GIs. I'm just doing it for the demonstration of the tutorial for those that do not know what it is. But yes, what it is demonstrating is that this does not exist. You cannot access the array at this index because there are not enough parts to do so. So what you may have to do is you may have to add in an extra condition that checks to see how many parts there are. So what we'll actually do is do it at the front. We'll do if parts.length is 2 and. So what this checks here now is to see if there are at least 2 parts to the message before doing anything. If there are not 2 parts to the message, then it just ignores it and we don't have any problems. Just bear in mind that when we do these kinds of conditions with AND statements in it, it will do them from left to right. So it will look at this condition first. And if it doesn't meet that condition, then it just goes, right, I'm done, bye. And it will never even touch this code and never cause a problem. So it's sort of like a shortcut out of the statement. But if it does match that statement, then it moves on and tries to check this. If this is false, then it just falls out. If it's true, it then continues on and it tries this statement. Now, if I was to use the other statement of or, so logical or, if parts.length is 2 or parts 0 is buzz, or parts 1 is 3. I mean, you probably never do this, but I'm just demonstrating for the purposes of what an or statement is versus an and statement. It will look at this condition first. If it's true, because there are or statements here, it'll just go, right, I'm done. Don't need to do any more because I know that this is true. But if this is false, then it moves on to the next statement and checks this. If this is true, then it goes, right, I'm done. No more to do. But again, if it's false, it then continues on. So they are shortcut statements, but there are different ways around. These ones are ors, so it has to meet this or this to make this be true. For ands, then these all have to hold true. It can't be just one of the statements. All of them must hold true in this particular way. You can use parentheses to group them together as well. So if you want some part to match and some part to not match. Also just realised that this checks specifically for the first 2 words. If it's not there, it won't check for it. Indeed, yes. Same with this, where if the message has 3+ words, it will just ignore the message. That is also true, but in that case, Yellowtail, if you want it to accept the first 2 words as buzz3 and then ignore the rest, then all you need to do is change the length check to be that. And for those out there that do not know, it should be that is what it looks like as the actual characters. It's just, again, my font does funky stuff and converts that into a special character. But it's a closing angle bracket equals sign is what that is. So what that you're doing there is checking to see if the length of this array is 2 or more, and that will match. So if we had that left in then as the code that we're using, and hit play, so now if you say like buzz3 something, then it should accept that. And then also similarly, if you say just the word buzz, then it won't do anything, but it won't exception either. Oh, absolutely, GIs. You've got to make it foolproof, and then even then, still got to make it foolproof. So if I say the word buzz, man doesn't care, but then again, yeah, that's fine. If I say buzz3, then it goes into the code, but because I'm not one of the players, it doesn't matter. There, because bot just said buzz3, and that works. Yellowtail just said the word buzz. They are one of the players, but it hasn't exceptioned, so we've successfully evaded that problem. Now it says buzz3, and that works. Haotatu says buzz3. Now if someone was to say buzz3 and an extra word at the end, then it should still accept that. And yes, Yellowtail has just done that. Buzz3 and some words also gets accepted. So yeah, there we go. That's how it works. Pretty nifty, eh? Pretty nifty. Now, what if we want the bot to talk back at us? That would be a nice thing to do. Well, first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to mod the bot so that it doesn't get booped by Twitch by spamming with too many messages at once. So I'm just going to mod the bot right now for the time being. There we go. And we're going to introduce a extra bit of code in here. So, you'd like Unity for £100. Oh, putting the pound sign at the end though is wrong, Haotatu. I know that's a very European thing. Like €100 having the euro symbol at the end makes sense, but for Brits, we have the pound sign at the front of the number rather than the end of the number. Just for your reference, I guess. So, once we have selected a podium, and we know that we have a matching podium, then we select the podium, and then we go, and we want to send a message back. I need to remember how to do that. Send response message is just that. Okay, nice, simple. Where the currency symbol belongs. Oh, Dev. Oh, Dev. Anyway, we're going to send a message back to Twitch chat. To do that, we're going to go client dot send message. Oh wow, that's quite an obvious message. Obvious method to call. Send message. We want to send it to the channel that we're currently in. So at_bash, because technically this client can connect to multiple channels at once. It's just this initialized system allows you to connect to just one channel very easily. So we're going to send a message to the @bash channel, and that message is going to read as let's say e.chatmessage.displayname plus string comma you have buzzed exclamation mark. Close that string, end the message. So if we do that, then what it'll do is it will send a message on a valid buzz happening, and it'll go, whoever the username is, comma, you've buzzed. And that should be the content of the message. So if we do that, play. Oh, hello, Loopy1. Hello there.
Cue the brass band.
I can't hear the alert message today because I'm in my special system. But thank you very much for the 8-3 sub there, Looping. Greatly appreciated. Hey, look at that. Bernard has sent a message back saying, Quizzy Paul Bot, you have buzzed. Oh, it doesn't show up there because it thought that was a command. Ah, okay. Buzz 3 for me, please. Yeah, I'll tell you have buzzed. There you go. Buzz 3, how title you have buzzed. So there you go, that's just how simple it is. That's just how simple Twitch chat integration is. That, you know, beyond that, that's it. I guess if you want to handle whispers, you have to do a different thing. You do have to handle a separate message because it won't accept whispers on its own. So if you want to handle whispers, then you need to do client.onWhisper received. Surprise, surprise. We have to have a separate method for that. Plus equals sender E. And then debug log, whatever. Now, you could kind of force both of these into the same method. So what we can actually do is have a separate method here called like void message received or something, and we'll call it string display name string message, and we can then just sort of change some of this code a bit and make it do things that are common across both message and whisper being received. So you can do message received, display name is e.chatMessage display name, and the message is e.chatMessage.message. Because the thing is, a whisper message doesn't derive from the same type, so you can't just chuck it the same way. You have to do a slight munge to get it to work if you want them both to go the same way. e.whisperMessage display name and e.whisperMessage.message. That means we can handle this both ways the same way, whether you send it via a message or via a whisper. Then I just need to change some of these references because they don't know what they are anymore. So change that to display name, change that to display name, change that to display name, change that to message, change that to message. That should be enough to convert it, I think. Yes, that is enough to convert it. So now, if we send it via a message or via a whisper, it should handle it the same way, theoretically. You have no problem with 720, even 1080p on Twitch. I guess the trick is a massive buffer underneath. How tired to you? Have you definitely switched on the low latency mode or not? Because that is an option you can switch. Like if I open this up, because I've got this here. If you go to the settings cog, go to advanced, is low latency switched on or not? If it's off, then you're probably getting an 8-second delay. If it's on, you can get maybe a 2 or 3 second delay. So worth just checking that to see if you've not got the low latency mode on. Let me hit the play button, and if people that are there, if they can whisper now to that user account, the what is his name, Burner4975. If you can whisper to 4975, Burner4975. There we go with Yellowtail. You have buzzed. Thank you very much for the whisper, and you have successfully buzzed. Score count went with Buzz 32. Unfortunately, that's not a match, but Buzz 32 is a match. So now it accepts whispers. Magic. Magic. Yes, score count. You made Twitch Loop sound much scarier than it was. Yeah, because I've gone through the pain of it before. So I'm hiding all the pain away for you. And like I said, the way that I've coded this is a bit kind of brute forcey. Like, I wouldn't have any of my game code directly in this Twitch code here. I'd have proper separation of functionality, but that's just because of my experience of being a programmer and doing that kind of thing. And also, the way I do my messages is vastly different to this as well, because I have a special. You know what? Let me just show you a bit of what I do, because it is very, very different, and I like it because it's super easy to just get in new code. So I have this message manager class which does the majority of the stuff that I need to worry about, but the thing for matching messages to particular commands, I use message matcher tied in with an attribute system. So here in 1000 Heartbeats, if we will look at one of the games, so let's have a look at compare. There should be in here a method that is working directly just for the message matching. So here, this method here is a special method that works with Twitch. How does it do that? Because of this. I've got a special attribute that I can use that I can mark on a particular method I want, and as long as I have this correct signature for the method, then this will get called if a message that comes through on Twitch matches this regular expression. And I can just have that anywhere I want in my code. Don't even have to have any sort of code dependency anywhere. It just magically works because I've done all the code under the hood to do it. It uses reflection to find these attributed methods, and it just finds them. So if the message matches this regular expression, don't worry, I'm not going to go to regular expressions because that is a whole other ball game. You obviously have a look at your own leisure as to what the hell they are, but they are almost an entire language on their own. But if it matches this, then I know that the content of this matched this entirely, so I could just pull things out of it and do special things with it. So yeah, that's what I have, is doing things like that. Like keep up there. This /d means number and means you can have multiple numbers, so it only accepts if you give a number as a response, that kind of thing. And reflection. Oh, look at this wonderful regular expression to say, have you sent me a number that looks like a time display, like a minutes and hours display? Don't that look fun, eh? It looks hideous as all heck, but it works. I like it. But that deals with every single different combination that I say on 1000 Heartbeats. They can do 12 hour, 24 hour, with a colon separator, with a dot separator, with just a space separator, with AM or PM as an optional extra on the end. All of those extra things. But it does all of that for me. And things like this here that prevent you from saying like 61 minutes, that's not possible. So you can only say up to 59 minutes. Oh, I like it. It's hideous to look at, but I like it. So yeah, that's what I do with my message manager. Is I have an entire system under the hood that allows me to hook up messages wherever I want. And you can also get extra information about your messages as well, by the way. Do you pull a user list to ensure that no one is spamming entries, or is that something not needed? So for things like 1,000 Heartbeats, yes, I track who has sent me a message and when. And if it's one of those games where you can only answer once, then obviously then you get added to a list of users that have answered, so that I then ignore you a second time over. So yes, I would do in those kind of contexts. But other games, that's not necessary. Yeah, other games won't have that rule, so that you can just, in some of them, you can just spam as many messages as you want. So yeah, all sorts of different use cases there. But in that particular one, yeah, I track who has sent a message so that you don't get spammed by them constantly. I was going to say that out of these messages, you can get extra information about the users and the message itself as well. So you can also get information to say, like, are they a moderator? So if you've got some functionality that you only want to allow a moderator to use, then you can go, if they are a moderator, then you can do something. Or if they are a subscriber, then you can do a thing. Or if they have turbo, yes, that wonderful thing that kind of still exists. If they have turbo, then that's a function that you have there that only turbo users can use. Or if their subscriber month count is above a certain number or not. Or if they have a specific badge, or if their colour is a certain thing. So you can do all sorts of things. Or if I'm the broadcaster, I use this quite a lot for is broadcaster, so that I only have special messages that I can use, but no one else can. So you've got all sorts of extra features there of the message that you can query. So you're going to have special functions that only certain people can access. That's entirely your decision, whether you want to do that or not. Obviously, whispers don't have any of that extra information. Whisper is a whisper is a whisper. There's no extra information on top of that. I've just noticed that Pretzel's not playing any music. Let's skip over to the next track and hopefully it'll start playing some more music. There we go. Like, if you're doing 1 versus 100 and you're in voice mode, then you have it restricted to broadcaster mode, yeah? Sort of. What I would do is I'll allow the broadcaster's messages to be treated as if they were messages from the user. So I sort of funnel the messages through the system that way and sort of fake the message coming from the user at that point. Colour for teams. Ooh, how Tartu? That's quite clever, actually. That is a quite clever thing, actually. I mean, there are quite a few colours you can pick from on Twitch, but it is something you can just change without much of a problem. That's interesting. Yes, everyone have to sync their colours, obviously, but but you could theoretically do that, yeah. You could say, if you want to be on Team A, Team B, or Team C, then just change your colour, and you could do that. It's faffy, yeah. See all that stuff there that you can deal with. Anyone got any questions about Twitch chat stuff then? They want any other specific things they want to do with Twitch chat that I have not explicitly talked about yet and they don't know how to do? Like there's like a specific command structure you need to do. Quiz Hexagon! Quiz Hexagon is the bestagon. So is there anything else you want to do? I can maybe talk about channel points. Because I think I have support to do the channel point system in here. Yeah, I think this version of TwitchLib has it. if you're interested in how to do channel points redemptions. Yeah, I was wondering how you did yours, Tipster, actually, because I know it was triggering certain events in your scene. I was actually trying to figure out how you got that to work. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how that worked, actually. But yeah, if you want to get a redemption, I think it's just another event on client. Is it another event on client, or is it not? No, it isn't. I think there's extra gubbins to it. Let me open up 1000 Heartbeats again. Where is it? Twitch. Oh, do I even have it on this one? I don't. I need to open up winning lines. Hang on then. Need to open up the winning lines ones. There we go. Try that one. And I know 15-1 has it. I know winning lines has it as well. Winning lines has a slightly more up-to-date, slightly less broken version of it. Rewards manager. So we have this class. What does it do? Uses pub sub. Is there anything I need to worry about with pub sub? Listen to rewards based off the channel ID. Is that all it does? It just listens to rewards. Setting. Oh no. There is an OAuth required. Yeah, there is an OAuth required. It requires a. It does require an extra function. So this is where you need to go back to that site and get another OAuth token, or get a different OAuth token that allows you extra functionality and not just chat functionality, because it's an extra scope. So if I was to go here, go refresh, or start again, should I say, do custom scope token, and I want to go. We want chat login. We want that. And we want rewards, channel, viewer channel points, custom reward redemptions. You want that option. And I think you also need to manage redemptions as well. Those are the two you'll need for this. You see all of these extra scopes you can get out of a user account, including things like getting their stream key, so someone could just stream on their behalf. That's a bit scary. Viewing hype train data, running commercials on your channel. Do the whispers as well, don't I? So I think that should just be all I need to do then. So if I grab that and then generate the token. So see, it's asking for a few more permissions here. And we just go, yeah. It's going to be a different token now. Palm trees. They're nearly palm trees. There we go. I'm going to copy that token now. And we go to here. We change that to that. We also then need to set up a. Oh yeah, rooms. That old thing where you can have multiple rooms per channel. Yeah, yeah, that died a death, didn't it? That died at death because no one really used it, even though it was very useful. It was very weird. So we need a pub sub for this then. Here we go. Pub sub equals new pub sub, I believe is how it goes. And then we need to have a couple of things. Spoiler chat was the big one, yeah. That was the big one. Pub sub service connected plus equals. Let's do sender E. Then what we need to do is we need to do a pub sub dot send topics, and that is now where we need to use the OAuth token we've got here. So we want that. Oh no, wait. This isn't the right. Ah, shoot. This will give me the OAuth access to the channel redemptions of that account, not of the @bash account. This is where you would have to sign in and use a different OAuth. Ah, yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, this is why you need to have a separate OAuth for it. And I'll be honest, I don't really want to get into that because I definitely do not want to be leaking any of my OAuth token data. So what you'd have to do is to get pub sub information for your account, for your channel, is you'd have to log into this with your account and then go down and switch on channel read redemptions and channel manage redemptions as your options, generate a token for that, and then do that. Yeah, there's a bit more of a yikes. That. So I'm not going to get into that right now because I forgot that was a thing. I forgot you had to do it as a separate doofer, but it makes sense. I'll put that back to that token as well. So yeah, we'll leave that as an exercise for the reader. But suffice to say, you can do it with pub sub. You just need to send some topics, and then you'll be able to get access then to the channel redemptions. Yes, that's what it would have done at that point, Yellowtail, yeah, if I had continued on. Theoretically, that OAuth token should still be alive. Yeah, the old OAuth token is still working. Good, cool. So I'm not going to do channel points then, for that reason, because I don't want to leak any of my information out. Okay, anyone got any other things they want to talk about with Twitch that isn't to do with Twitch extensions? I mean, that's also another thing, yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, the message matcher is my design, pop rap and comedy, yeah. I could share it, but the thing is that it's a little weird to get used to if you're not used to it. At least with this, you know where code is going. With Message Manager, it's code where you don't know where it's coming from or where it's going, and there's reasons for things. Sending messages in regards to questions and answers, perhaps. Well, that then just becomes context in this message received channel, in this message received method, should I say. So you'll just have a bit like says in here in game, says what the current question is, and it goes, if it's the answer, then reveal the answer, and if it's not, then it's not. So it just becomes a case of checking that kind of thing. Yeah. Hello, Whiskers. Hello. Meow to you too. Meow. Hi. Hi. Hello. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's not Flocky score count. You okay? You okay, Whiskers? Oh, hello. Let's unhook you there. There you go. Can I put you over here, please? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, cat. So what we could do, I suppose, is because we do know what the current question is. So, you know, let's change the buzzing system so that we lock the podium up. So selected podium. If there's already a podium selected, then we need to check to see if we are selecting nothing. Podium is null. Podium is not null, sorry. Then we return. So this is sort of like locking the podium here. So if we've already got a selected podium set and we want to set a new podium, then don't. We're not allowed to do that. Can't do that. Not allowed. Go away. Stop it. So that will lock the podiums up. Because we need this here, an extra check just to check, because reset podium comes through here with null, and we don't want it to stop it from doing it with not null. With null, should I say. So that will block it up. So whoever buzzes in will then have control. That then means in Twitch we know who is in control. And we can go... game dot... Do we actually have the podium to say who the current podium is? We don't have that available outside of the game yet. No, we don't, but we can make it available. So let's make a public property to return what the current selected podium is for everything else to know about it. So, if game selected podium is not null, and also game dot... we should have a question, right? Or is it the question box we have to know about that? I'm trying to remember where the actual where it says whether the question is active or not. Did we actually have that at any point? Did we ever have that? It would seem we do not have that at all at any point. Oh well. We'll have to introduce that. So if we had like question box, do we have an index? We do have an index, so we can actually get public question, current question, and return questions, question index, for example. It does mean we need to have an access to question box here in Twitch as well. Question box. It's a bit disgusting, this code at the moment, but it's still tutorial code. So we're adding in a reference to the question box so we can grab what the current question is. So if we do, and no, if game.selected podium is not null, if parts 0 is equal to question box dot current question dot answer text, then you can go game dot select podium, reset podium, and we can also say client dot send message to the @bash channel, and we can say display name, you are correct, and we could also say if it's not, then reset the podium and then go you are wrong. So you could theoretically do that, I think. Will that work? Will that work? Let's find out. Means we need to have the main screen open at some point, which it should do by default. Which it does. Let's reveal the next question. So what is JOS? Buzzers are active. You have to buzz first with buzz 3. Because that makes sense. Okay, Quizzy Paulbot, you have buzzed and you are wrong. Oh, did I not have an else? Oh, there you go. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. Hang on. We need to put an else in there. Need to put an else in there. Or should I say, actually, this takes precedence. I think that should take precedence. If game selected podium is not null, then do that. Else if do that. And we're going to take this extra restriction off, so you just need to say the word buzz to buzz in. And actually we're going to take the full message rather than part 0. So do that. So I hope that works. Next question. What is Joss? Who wants to buzz? So, Quizzy Paul, you have control. What's your answer? A lovely emote. Unfortunately, you are wrong. Anyone else want to buzz? Anyone else want to buzz in with the answer? You can re-buzz, I think, Paulbot. I might be showing you what the answer is. Might be showing on screen what the answer is. No, you need the full string. You can't just say life, you need the full string. And it needs to be... Oh, hang on. I know a problem. There's a problem. There is a problem. There's a problem. Because we're doing... Message to lower invariant is equal to this, but this isn't all to lower. So I need to do to lower on the other side. Also, I'm going to switch in an extra player as well. I'm going to change one of the players to Tipster for the time being. So, Tipster, you're on the blue podium now. So, next question. Oh, who created Minecraft? These are joke answers, by the way. These are joke answers. Oh. Oh, Tipster, you answered on behalf. Oh, that's a bug as well. You answered on behalf of Haltatu, which is wrong. I need to fix that. Because we've just checked to see if the selected podium is null, but we're not checking to say who sent that message. So we also need to go and game.selected podium dot player name selected podium dot player name is equal to the display name. Then we can accept that message to come through correctly. So now if we do it. There we go, next question. What are birds? What are birds? Tipster has buzzed in. What are birds? What are birds? What would you like to answer? What even are birds? You're wrong. There's an extra period on the end there. There's a full stop on the end, Tipster. Anyone want to buzz in? Quizzy Paulbot, you buzzed in. What are birds? What even are birds? You are correct. You are correct. That was interesting. Tipster, you have buzzed. It still sends the message even though it doesn't lock you out, but that did work. Let's reveal the answer. What even are birds? There you go. Let's go for the next question. What question number is this? What question number is this, Haltatu? Unfortunately, I answered the previous question, Haltatu. What even are birds, Quizzy Paulbot? 3 minus 1. Unfortunately, you're wrong. Now, the problem is, I think that is not necessarily the minus symbol you're looking for. So, good luck getting the right punctuation. Tipster, can you get the right punctuation mark? Now, obviously, in normal circumstances, we wouldn't be dealing with these problems. Nope, 3 minus 1 like that is not right. Like I say, you need to get the right punctuation mark. How Tatu, can you get the right punctuation mark? You need a bigger screen. All right, let me give you the a copy paste. There you go. If you paste that message as an answer, that's correct. Yep, good old M dash. Tipster, you're right. Reveal that answer. You are right. Yes. It was 3 minus 1. That was the answer. Wow. 3 M dash 1. But you are right. Let's go to the next question. Who created Minecraft? Oh, good luck with getting the the punctuation mark right here as well. It's because we did this in LibreOffice and we didn't care about all the extra auto formatting it does. Also, we're being very strict on matching the strings as well, which normally we won't need to worry about. Unfortunately, that's wrong. The quotation, that the apostrophe is not quite right. Unfortunately, got everything apart from the apostrophe right. I'll give you the apostrophe. I'll give you the apostrophe you need to use. It's the slightly curly one. Anyone who does? I think we demonstrated that it works though. Tipster got in there first. Yeah, it's a smart quote, Tantasar, I know. Can Tipster get the quotation right? Hey, you got it right. Real the answer. I think that's all the rage on mobile phone screens these days. Very well played. Woo! Look at that magic. So the only other thing to worry about is this message gets sent out every time someone tries to buzz in, but they might not actually buzz in. So you might actually want to also add a check in here to go if game.selectedPodium is the matching podium, then that means we have successfully selected the podium. And if not, then we can also send a message out saying that the current selected podium's name is in control right now. So now I can stop it from sending a message all the time by changing the message to say if someone else has control of the game. And then if you go play, go to the next question. So what question number is this? I'll give you the M dash again. There's the M dash for you. Oh yeah, pulling emotes. I'll do that in a moment. I will do that in a moment. @bash data Twitch. API manager. That's the one. That's the one I was looking for. Have a look at the thing. We'll replace emote stream. Yeah, that's the bit we need to switch. No one go for it. All right, we'll reveal the answer then. It's 3 minus 1 with the M dash. So what we need to do for the emote replacing gubbins. Now, it's not as easy as that, unfortunately. So for a game with only a few contestants, I guess the solution against delay is sharing screen on Skype or alike and the Discord bot and make them not watch Twitch. Yeah. Obviously, that would make sense how to. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, for emotes is hard. It kind of is hard because unfortunately these don't really deal with them automatically. But you can grab the information out about the emotes if you are looking to get them in some way. It's just whether you want them displaying or not, because I've had to go through pain and suffering to write my own emote manager to make it work, and even then it still doesn't work all the time. It kind of works, but not completely, because there's still broken parts of Twitch Lib Unity that I have to work around. So I don't know really. Is it because the thing is the you can grab information about the emotes in the messages, but that's about it. It's just about what's the context you want to use the emotes for, Tipster? What's the actual context for them? Don't really have a context, it's just something you mentioned was interesting. Oh, yeah, it is interesting, it's just difficult. I'm just seeing, will this list stuff? Excuse me. Will this actually do stuff in here? Emote dot name. I just want to see if this does anything on its own, because I've had to write, as I say, I've had to write an extra manager on top just to get it to work for my stuff in the past. So if I was to say that, well, it appears to actually have that as an extra thing. So yes, that is in there as info. You could probably get the image URL out of it. So I suppose what you could do with this is you can have it like do particle effects or something when people say specific emotes, and be able to grab the URL for them. Yeah. So in the actual IRC, you can actually get information about the images it uses for the emotes. So if you look at this address, that is the address for LOL. And if you go and get Kappa's messages, you can get the CDN hosted page to get the emote for Kappa, things like that. So if you send a message that's lots of messages in it, like this and Tipster Hoy, and also like let's pick lots of emotes. Let's also do that one, and also we'll try one of the Francoface C ones as well. So I think it might handle those as well. Let's see. So that message has all those that it's managed to find. It's managed to find 5. So it hasn't actually done the Francoface C emote, unfortunately. But it does do custom channel emotes. So that there is @bashdoot. This one should be Tips to Flail. Yep, there's Tips to Flail. And this one here on the end will be @bashwoot, but not the what. In theory, this is supposed to be able to support doing Francoface C emotes, from what I understood, but I'm guessing it doesn't. So there may be some extra information to deal with that. Although there is an extra thing it does called will replace emotes that I use in my other code. It's be interesting to see what that does. Yes, indeed, Tipsy, yeah. That just says lol. If I do Frankenface Z, what does that do? See, that just says what, doesn't actually replace it. But I swear there was a something at some point where it could support doing Frankenface emotes, but hey ho. That's for reading at another time, but yeah, you can get all the list of emotes that came out of a specific message by doing e.chat message, emote set, emotes, for that kind of thing if you want. Like I was saying earlier with the badges as well, you can go for each badge, well, whatever it was, e dot, there should be badge info. Badges? Well those are disgusting. Those are just strings. Ugh. Don't know how I feel like that. Don't know how I feel about strings for that. Clearly not that well supported. Don't even know what noisy is. What is noisy? Not set, true, false. Don't know what noisy is, but it's noisy. You know, user type, you can get extra information about that, but anyway, stuff. So everything's already touched upon, but I'm assuming Twitch Lib is also how you pull the player avatars. Yes, that's a good point. I should probably do that. So to do that, what did I do with my my user image manager? What do I do with this? Twitch API, which is API, not client. So this requires you to use an API instead now, rather than a client. So this is sort of like the web stuff, but this is where we now need to get some more requests done here. So we will need to widen the OAuth token again. So let me do this thing again. So we have channel read. But you also need to grab things like where is it?
Why are you leaving?
Do we actually need to have any extra bits on it? I'm trying to remember now if it's just a freebie with the OAuth token or whether you have to get extra information. That's non-public user information, which we don't want. Is there anything else I need to do? Or is this OAuth token the only thing I need to worry about? I think it's probably the only thing I need to worry about is using this token. Twitch API uses client ID and OAuth. Ah, okay. So we do need to have this though. We'll need to have this extra information for it though. That's fine though. We can do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce a new private so that we can grab stuff with the API. So go private API. And here we need to go API is new API. And we go API dot settings dot client ID is this client ID that we've got here, I believe. Ooh, hello. Where am I? Here. API dot settings dot access token is this OAuth token we've used before. So we can just chuck that back in. And then we don't have to connect anything yet because it's just an API, so it's just a web request when we need it. But we have set it up at this point. Then what we can do is, if we want to, we can update the podium graphics, can't we? Theoretically. We have public image. Do we want those to be images or do we want those to be... Yeah, so this is the thing, is that we're going to be grabbing textures for these, but those are not sprites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change how a podium is represented by using a raw image instead. So instead of using an image, I'm going to change it to be a raw image. Do the same for the other three. It's just slightly easier to do this for the time being this way around. So give them raw images. And then in the podium, this then becomes texture. And this becomes raw image. We may have to change some of the code down here. So player image dot main texture, or probably just texture, I think is just good enough. Yep, will equal to player sprites once we get there. In fact, we want to change that after the fact. I'm going to move that into the update method. So let that do its thing. Player sprite is a thing. We just need to delete those. So that then becomes a reference to that. That becomes a reference to that. That with a reference to that. That with a reference to that. We hit save. And then what we can do is, in Twitch, at the beginning, we can go through each of the podiums and then grab an image for each one. So we go for each podium, in game.podiums, and we can grab an image for them. So we should be able to go actually, we can grab them all in one go. I've just remembered we can actually grab multiple users at the same time. So what we're actually going to do is we need to make this we need a coroutine to do this actually. That's a good point. So we need to do a coroutine to do this. So because it's a thing that can run simultaneously, but we don't want to block the code from continuing. So what we're going to do is run this in a what's called a coroutine to allow it to run at the same time as something else, so we can let the game do its thing and then let this do its thing at the same time. So get user images, we're going to call it that, and we're going to start a coroutine up here with get user images, and this will start the coroutine off down here. This is complaining because it doesn't know what this is, but if we select using system collections, then it's happy and it knows what that is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have get users response, which I believe should be in Helix. Yeah, so in the Helix set, this is the response which we will be filling up in a moment. And then we're going to yield return. So we're going to go sort of... yield return means sort of wait for this thing to do its thing, then we will continue later on. So yield return API dot Twitch... API dot Helix dot users dot get users async. Async means it is an asynchronous call, i.e. we're not doing this right now, we're going to be doing this over time, and then we will synchronize later, as it were. And we need some either IDs, logins, or access tokens. So what we're actually going to do is do logins, and we need to give it the array of logins. And to do that, we're going to do and use some link here. So we're going to go game.podiums and select. So what we're going to do is going to be grabbing some information from each podium. In this case, we're grabbing their player name. So now we're going to have a collection of strings, a collection of names, as it were. We just need to make that a list to make this happy. So now this is a list of all of the player names for all of the podiums. Let's do get user async, all of that, and then there should be an extra thing we need to do at the end. Hang on, what did we do here? Oh, hang on. I need to wrap this all up in one thing. That's what's missing. Hang on. So there's that, but we need to wrap this all in API.invoke async. So this is what makes it work for Unity, is it will run this as a proper thread and then return back to the Unity thread in this coroutine correctly once it's completed by doing this. And there we go, response. Hang on. X response equals X. So this here is also an event callback at the end of the invoke, at the end of this sort of call. And it contains the response object that we want, and we're just sort of grabbing it and putting it back out here. So we're grabbing the response object. Then all we need to do is go for each user in the response users. So for all of the users that we managed to grab, then get some information out. And now we need to do a web request using the Unity web request stuff to grab an image, because each of these users will have a profile image URL right here. And then this sort of call system here will allow us to grab a texture from the web, and eventually we'll be able to get that into a texture. So we also need to yield return send web request, because we need to actually send the web request off to then download the data. Then once we have downloaded the texture, this will finish, and then we'll be able to continue on. But first of all, we will check to see if something went wrong or not. So this just goes, if there was a network error while making the request, or there was some HTTP error making the request, we're just checking for those. If neither of those were an error, then we know that we have succeeded in some way. In which case we can then grab the texture like that. That allows us to just grab the texture from the request. And then that should mean we'll need to be able to go game.podiums, first or default, where the x dot player name is equal to the user display name, as long as it matches correctly. Get the first one of those, and then we do dot player image. Nope, not player image, player sprite, sorry, is equal to texture. So theoretically, all of this coroutine here will grab from Twitch all the necessary user images for the 4 people at the podium. Podia, plural podium. So it makes a request to Twitch to get some information about the users. Once we have that information back, we then do a request on each of those to grab the texture for each of those. And then once we've done that, we grab the content of the request as a texture, and then we can apply it to the podium. Let's see if that works, eh? A lot of theoretical code. I hope it works. Hey, look at that! Look at that! It actually did work. First time and everything. First try! Don't you just love it when that happens, eh? So yeah, it's a lot of sort of weird looking code, but that's just the way this code works. So this does look a bit more disgusting than this did, put it that way. But it just works, which is quite nice, isn't it? It's quite nice, isn't it? Oh, I'm happy that that worked. I'm very happy that that worked. So if I change that last one to say @bash instead, hey, it's me. First time watching needing many minutes to pull just a few lines. Workshop just stepped up and voila, just first try. I know. But the thing is, all of this here is because I've done it in the past. I'm just literally looking at code I've got that I've written before, and I've almost copy-pasted the code line for line. So, it's just what it is. If you don't know what Helix is, by the way, that's just one of the different API sets that Twitch use. They have like V5 and Helix. V5 is the slightly older one, I think. Helix is the slightly newer one, I forget. But Helix is the one we're using here to get the user information. It still works, so can't complain. But yeah, so long as you have a valid OAuth and you use this client ID if you got it from this page. If you didn't get it from this page, if you didn't get your OAuth from this page, don't use this client ID. Instead, you would be using the client ID of the application that you generated the OAuth token with. That will make sense to those that know about OAuth. But there you go. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Simple, eh? It's hideous code, must be said, but at least the code works. So even if you're not really certain what any of this does, then at least sort of copy pasting it verbatim should work for you. The only thing you'll be doing differently is things like how this works here. So this is a list here of podium names, so you just have to worry about what that is. So this could be simplified instead. If you've just got a list of names you know, then you can go like list. No, not array list. Stop trying to correct me. Stop trying to correct me. Instead, you can just go list string names equals new list, and then you just go whatever it is, like that. So if you've got a list of names that you know you want to use, you just go @bash, tipster, etc, etc. Then you can just plug this list in here instead. That makes more sense to those then that use slightly simpler code. But then obviously these don't hook up to the podiums. That's where the problem will lie. You'll need to find out a way of hooking those podiums up. But yeah, that's basically how that works there. Is that ugly when it's that short when handling images? What I would say about the ugliness here is just that these lines are a little long, and it's a bit confusing that you're having to make this call and then wrap it in this call and then also handle this at the end here. That's the bit to me that makes it feel ugly. Not that it's a short block of code, because it's a nice neat block of code, but it's just the fact that like this one line has like 3 different things going on actually under the hood. Well, technically 4, because we're also unpacking a podium list here as well, so it's technically 4 things we're doing on one line, which is a bit meh. Arrays in Unity can still push and pop, right? Well, in the inspector, they sort of can. In C Sharp, no. C Sharp arrays. Typed arrays, no. Generic system arrays, sort of. So, let me just get you a separate class here so we can work with fun with arrays. We'll just create a quick class called fun with arrays. Let's change that to that. And we'll just have a public void, do some stuff. Whatever. Don't really care about what it looks like. So you're gonna have this values equals new int, and just give it like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. If you've got just this, there is nothing on the array type that allows you just to add to it. You can go through all this list, and I mean, we'll delete all that. We don't need that. But you look through this, and there's nothing there that allows you to add or remove entries. You can do that with lists. So using system.collections generic, you can do that with lists. So if we do a list of integers, so more values equals new list, and give it some numbers. Then more values allows you to do .add, so that allows you to add to the end of the list more elements. So you could go 9, that'll add an extra 9 to the list, or you can also do add range, which allows you to add multiple items at once if they're in some sort of array somewhere else. But you can do add and then add 27, and then add, then you can also do more values remove 3. You do that kind of thing with a list. I would probably prefer doing, if you need to sort of add and remove elements from a collection, and you don't necessarily worry about the order they go in, then use a list instead of an array. You technically can do this with an array by doing, I think, if you have using system, I think you can do something with array. Hang on, isn't there something in Unity you can do it with? I think the Unity engine has a special thing in it. What is it again? Unity add element to array, but I think it might be an editor only thing. Might be an editor only script. Oh, it doesn't even have it. Okay. There is a way in the array set of things where you can sort of make a copy of the array, but at different size. So you can do resize, ref, values, and do something like this. Then you can do values like that. So what this does is it adds an extra element to the end of the array, which is unassigned, and then you can specify what that value is. So this allows you to resize an array and add an extra element, but it's a bit clunky. I don't quite like it. Whereas with a list, it's more obvious that you just sort of add this value, remove this value. Or if you want to remove at a specific index in the list, you can go remove at, and this will remove at the index 0, so the first element in the array, for example. So that's what I would say is I would use a list if you need to sort of dynamically populate it with something, so increase it or decrease it at runtime. Use an array if it's a fixed set of values that aren't going to change. There are other things you can use as well. There is an ordered list, but I wouldn't really worry too much about that. There is also a queue. So if the list needs to be treated more like a specific order, then you can use a queue to add elements and remove elements, but they could only have then be added at the end of the queue and removed from the front of the queue. So it's what's it called? first in, first out. That's what a queue is. First in, first out. FIFO. Yeah, lobbies will technically basically be a list. Pop around comedy. Yeah, that's essentially what I use for all of my lobby code. If I look at winning lines, for example, if I look at my lobby.cs, because I'm sure I have one, there'll be. Oh, didn't want to see that on stream. There should be in here somewhere. God damn it. Let me hide those away. There should be. I actually use a hash set. Which is a slightly more complicated thing. What a hash set allows you to do is prevent duplicates from coming into the collection. So you can't have the same person in the list more than once. If that makes sense. Hash set has that extra restriction that it can only be the same. It can only have at most one of the same thing in the collection. It's a bit like a list, but a list can have multiple. It can have more than one of the same thing in. So you could a list could technically have me in the lobby twice. A hash set physically cannot allow that to happen. The hash set is slightly more complicated to use. And yes, that shouldn't have been on the stream. The unsafe root codes. Well, I have to define them somewhere. That's the problem. I have to define them somewhere so that we don't see them happening on stream. And yet, we just showed them on stream. Okay. Any other questions about Twitch then? We managed to get some Twitch images coming through. Any other questions? Yeah, you could put an if condition in on a list as well if you needed to. Just go, if list contains this, then you can just go return. So yeah, there are methods already in the list collection to allow you to check for if it exists already or not. Whatever makes the most sense to you code-wise, that's what I would always push. Don't necessarily look for making it the best code possible. Always look to be code that you can understand, so that when it comes to like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line, you need to go and update it. Be like, oh, that's what that did. Versus, how the hell does this work again? I know you're running on a potato, Pop Ram Comedy, but still. In terms of a collection of 40 elements of a hash set versus a list, you'll see very little difference in performance between the two. Very, very little difference in performance. If you had collections of tens of thousands of elements, then you probably would see a difference in performance. But in a collection of 40, nah, you probably won't. Okay, any other questions? Anything else that people want to know more about? Okay, yeah. So yeah, the more recent version of the OnyConnect I got is connected to a buzz-in system that I've developed. That I've not really done much on, to be honest. But yeah, it is all tied into that, and that won't be up there on the GitHub, I don't think. But you go to a separate web page and you get presented the clues from OnyConnect. From the OnyConnect system, including image clues, and it gives you the buzzer to buzz in, and on things like the missing vowels around it also displays the missing vowels. It also has access to the wall, that kind of thing. So it's another web app thing. Yeah, it's another web app thing. So yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, I did go beyond the just the sharing screen stuff, yeah. Just allows the players to have more control over the game, because it also then gives them control to show the next clue rather than having to ask me to then reveal the next clue. So yeah, it's a little more involved, but makes it easier for the players to play and avoids screen sharing stuff and things like that. Although for the music round, I still have to play that through Discord, because I didn't want to send audio through the buzzing system. Yeah, it is them picking the bricks of the walls, yeah. Yeah, if we go like to the... Can I actually just switch it on for a moment? Let me see if I can actually quickly turn it on. Does still have the Odoo Connect project open here somewhere. Let's open that up. I'm going to have to run the server for it as well. It's been ages since I've actually done this though. CD server. No idea if it still works. But we'll see. hpweb.co.uk/ Is it Buzzing Only Connect? Is that where it is? Get rid of those. var www html Buzzing Only Connect. It should be that. Try that. Hello. Yeah, should be that. hpweb.co.uk/ Buzzing Only Connect. There it is. See, it has this extra web page thing here where you can connect to the game with a name or whatever. As long as I know whom they are by their names here. So I've just connected with Ash, so I should be on Team A, for example. And I should be able to, I believe, play the... Let's put the game window back in here. And I should be able to play the game. Let's take Pretzel off for a moment, so I forget if this has music or not. And we go... I need to then go to my Only Connect layout and press play this thing. Hey, that still works. That still works, that's good. Let's go to that. Oh god, what's going on with my Stream Deck? Go to that, go to selection. Oh, there we go. Go to the selection of the puzzle. Let's take that off, we don't need that. Put this up. Let's go with that. Which is that one. We have done the selection, so we now need to go that, enter, start. Theoretically, yeah, there we go. So, because I'm on the team that's currently playing, it sends me that information through. And anyone on the team can hit the clue, next clue button. It gives them the next clue here in the browser and also changes it in the game. You do it again. If they think they know the answer, then they can buzz and they can say what they think the answer is. And if they think they're right, then I should then be able to reveal the correct answer, which is the right answer. And I could go that and then give them 2 points. And then I should be able to hit that to exit. So yeah, you can sort of do all of that. If I change to the wall round, can I do that? Is that a thing I can do? Hang on, where am I? No, index is outside the bounds of the array. I forget how these buttons work now. Selection. There we go. It's just selection again. You have to hit again to go back to the main menu. Then go back to the wall. Selection. -1's in control. Lion. Enter. And then if I hit start, it should send them the wall. Like that. It's not exactly well formatted, but it gives them the format of the wall. And they can click on the thing. And they get feedback on whether it matches or not. And it comes through on my end as well. Like that. Forget what the answer to this one is, so let's quickly look it up again. So we've got barbell 11 and 7. That's a match. So it goes green and goes to the top. And also, you'll see it's updated there. Brothers, Chemical Brothers, Blues Brothers, Eiley Brothers. There you go, there's some brothers. Then stuff. Nope, there we go, and out of time. So yeah, you get all the immediate control there with it. So that's how all that worked. It's quite nice. It's quite nice, isn't it? So it just allows them to have direct control over the game. We can get rid of that now. Okay. Any other things people ask? No problem, How Tattoo. No problem. Anyone got any other questions, or is that going to be it for this evening? Oh wow. What is the Whittle theme doing playing? I don't know. What Whittle theme? Where? Oh, the ending of that last track. I can't even remember what that track was. I mean, it sounded a bit like this. Or wherever it is.
It's time to be whittled. And here's the man to whittle you down, Tim Bly.
Oh! Similar rhythm, yeah. Or it's, really, you should be looking at Everybody's Equal. That was the sort of the original version of it, wasn't it? Did have a different theme, but it was essentially the same game in a way. It was of its time. It was 80s. It was of its time. But you didn't like Chris Tarrant as a host on that. I guess he found more of a stride in Millionaire rather than that game, so. Or do you just hate Chris Tarrant in general? You only like Tarrant on Millionaire. Yeah, he does, yeah. To be fair, it is a bit of a weird role he plays on Colour of Money. I mean, there is that meme, isn't there, of him walking away from the machines all the time in Colour of Money. Is it the one on Harry Hill? I think it is, isn't it?
We know what Ingrid Tarrant's up to, but what about Chris? Well, the new Chris choose different.
Go.
I think it's a red moment.
First one. Pretty much my name.
Where is it?
Anything.
Where is it?
It's got to be your fault.
7!
We wanted one.
7!
Start the machine. Start the machine. Start the machine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not exactly...
Start the machine! Start the machine! Start the machine! Oh yeah, half a level stuff as well, yeah. But yeah, stuff. Stuff and things. Stuff, this and that. Is that it then? Am I just waffling? Are we done? Next on the list, how to make an oval LED clock in Unity. No. No. Think good? Are you good, Whiskers? Yeah, you're good. I mean, I think it seems to be working. The majority of how to actually get the connection to work. It's just obviously all the semantics of how to get it to work specifically for you is where the problem's going to lie a bit more, isn't it? I'm not really score count. I'm just sort of happenstancing on this topic. I should plan my lessons more. But at least it works, you know? At least it works. Can't complain with things that work, you know? I've buzzed. But what? We don't have a question yet. Let's have a question. Then say what? That's the wrong answer. So yeah, I think we're done. I think we are done there. But I hope that all makes sense out there for those that want to know how to get Twitch chat to work. So yeah, have fun out there. Have fun making games, making Twitch stuff. So that's going to be it for me, I think. I need to head off to the supermarket at some point to grab stuff before bed's stream. Thank you very much. I might be back again next Saturday. Depends on if there's still stuff to be teaching at that point. If not, then I'll be back around on Wednesday for stuff and things. So in the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching along with these random teaching musings. Hope they've been interesting and useful. And I'll catch you all later. Have a good evening, good night, good afternoon, whatever time zone it is for you. Bye!